the Shack Master!
All right.
The Shack Master!
I told you. Oh, God.
You just gotta keep living, man. L-I-V-I-N.
The WWF Ring the Flag and Championship bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
It's showtime.
PG3 Radio.
Nope. I think I'm done being nice to old people.
Why you gotta be like that?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to seek them out and push them over to break their hips. But, well, here's why. All right, so old people have that stigma where they can say whatever they want, whenever they want, and they get away with it.
I think that's the beauty of getting old, is that's what it's all leading up to, is you being a brutally honest person and getting no flack about it.
So, let me explain why that thought popped in my head. So, I went to the gym. Yep, that was Josh's phone slapping against the table.
It was a poltergeist.
So, I went to the gym the other day, and there was this... Alright, so I'm at the gym, I sweat, whatever, before I'm going to work. It's 5 a.m. and I get off the elliptical, treadmill, whatever, at 6:15. And before I take my shower, I like to cool down. So, don't yawn at my story. You're yawning at my story already. Alright. So, before I go to work, I like to take a shower and cool down before I take my shower. And what? You go ahead and say. You go just say what you want to say.
Before I go to work, I like to take a shower, cool down, as if that's the only reason. Like, screw all that, getting all that soap on me and making me not stink.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to cool down.
Well, I always like to cool down before I get in the shower. So I had plugged a fan up in the locker room. And I'm sitting next to the fan right by my locker. And the fan's blowing on me. And all of a sudden, out of the steam room, sauna, whatever, this guy pops out. And I go, do I need to turn this off, man? Are you okay? He's like, no, you're fine, you're good. Leave it on, that's fine. I need to cool down too. I'm fixing to get ready for work and I don't want to be sweating. So I was like, oh, you're cool, all right, whatever. So we're sitting there, I'm listening to my radio and everything, just cooling down, and this old guy comes in. He's probably like 65, 66, somewhere like that. So he comes in, and it's a little chilly. It's a chilly day outside for an October day. It's probably like 50 degrees outside. Not cold, but chilly. So he walks in, and he doesn't say, hey, is anyone using this fan, or... does anyone mind if I turn this fan off of me? He goes, we don't need this. And I just kind of giggle because I think he's just making a weather joke. And he walks over and turns the fan off. Then he walks next to me and goes, excuse me, I need to get into my unit. And he wasn't trying to as you would say, fidget or fiddle. What was the word
I
you
think
used?
we've took a turn for the wrong here.
No, he wasn't trying to do anything like that.
He said, old man, fiddle, and my unit within the same
maybe
paragraph.
I'm just talking about Johnny and his fiddle of gold. Johnny, rising up your bow and play your fiddle hard, 'cause hell's broke loose in the maximum and the devil deals the cards. He's going to turn that fan around and...
He's going to have a sauna made of gold.
Yeah, no. So, no.
If you lose in there with him, you will go.
What was the word you used earlier?
Beholden?
No. No, the word you used earlier when I said something about...
screw you.
No, that I said that you wouldn't be invited to kids' parties.
Pederass? I don't know.
No, finagle.
Diddle.
You spouted that off like I said a keyword and you were a sleeper cell for diddlers.
Diddle. Yeah,
what
he
is
diddled.
What is it? Is it sleep? Diddle! I said sleep and you said diddle so quickly. So no. So he so he says, I need to get into my unit. And he wasn't trying to diddle himself. He was trying to get into his locker.
Yeah.
When he says that, I'm sitting by my locker.
Let's pause for a second.
go ahead.
When this old man comes up to you after, you're cooling down from your workout.
Mm-hmm. And there's another guy there, by the way. So
I
he saw
know.
all this.
And he comes up and he says, yeah, excuse me, I need to get to my unit.
No, the first thing he says
Well,
is,
I
we
know
don't need this. And he walks over and unplugs my fan.
But when he said, yeah, I need to get to my unit, or whatever.
Right. He didn't say it like that all creepy, but
Well,
he
impersonating.
said, excuse me, I need to get to my unit.
What did your mind immediately go to when he said that?
This old motherfucker just unplugged my fan.
You're still hung up on the fan.
Yeah, no, I was totally, because I'm trying to cool down within 15 minutes so I can take my shower and get to work on time. Like, that was my whole goal. Like, I'm very schedule oriented.
Yeah.
And, like, if I have something in mind that I'm scheduled to do, and somebody comes in and goes, hey, I need you to stop by my house this afternoon. I go, you're messing up my plans. I got to do this. I hate everyone. I want to burn down your house. Just don't pay attention to what I said in my sleep. No. So
Yeah, I talk crazy in my sleep.
So I'm sitting on the end of the bench. The fan is blowing towards me. Or it was, because he just unplugged it.
Yeah.
And he goes, excuse me, I need to get in my unit. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here on the bench. You can get... So he starts laying his stuff, like, right on top of me. So I grab my bag, I scoot it over, and I go sit down by the fan and turn the fan on me. I'm on the floor now. And this guy's looking at me. And, like, the guy doesn't get dressed and go work out. He gets dressed. And, like, he puts his knee brace on. And he's like... Let me reflect about how when I was young. And, like, he would put his shorts on and put a sock on and just sit there. And you're like, I'm going to kill this old man. I'm going to have to. I don't see any way out. This is the only way out, is this man's got to cease to exist. So the guy that came out of the sauna, me and him are just looking at each other every 2-3 minutes. And, like, he's smiling because he's waiting for me to explode. And I have the patience of Job. But he, the guy doesn't say anything about me sitting by the fan, and he gets dressed to go, I guess, I don't know where he's going, but he gets dressed, and he looks at me and goes, it's all yours now, and walks out. And I look at him and go, thanks, and kind of roll my eyes and look back at my phone, because I was watching something on YouTube or something, and I had one of my headphones out, and the guy that come out of the sauna goes, it's all yours now, buddy. And he just kind of giggles, and I'm like, dude, am I right or wrong that was just totally messed up? And he's like, no, I'm all for respecting my elders, but that crap right there was just crazy, and he needs to learn some manners. And I'm like, yeah, it's all about etiquette, you know? Like, if he would have come in and be like, hey, do you mind sliding over so I can get in my locker? Yeah, okay. Do you mind if I turn this fan off or turn it over here away from me? Yeah, that's fine. But he didn't do any of that. He's just like, unplug the fan. We don't need this. Get out of my way. I need to get into my unit. I will diddle you if you say anything. No, that's pretty much all he said.
I think that's kind of the... I don't want to box anybody up in just a one package
You wanna
deal.
box up old people?
But
Is that what you're gonna say?
I think a lot of them, at least the ones that I've came in contact with, and I know you could probably vouch for me,
yeah,
they're very self-centered type of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's my way or the highway, and
Yep.
the excuse is always, well, I'm old enough to where I've earned this.
right.
But nobody earns the right to be a douchebag. Sorry, but you don't earn the
No.
right.
Well, I mean, I think we all know my grandmother was one of those types of people that would just say whatever, and it annoyed me, and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't have any tolerance for old people saying what they want to say, is because, like, no, You're a human being. If you want me to treat you with respect, you have to give respect to get respect. Yeah. And if you come at me with no manners and you're just, young person, man, you're going to listen to what I say and I'm going to tell you how I feel and you say something crossways and you're going to hurt my feelings. No, that's not the way the world works. And most of those old people grew up in a time where it was really hard. Now, I understand that to a point. You know, you grew up in a time where, I lost my leg. Well, get over it, pansy. You lost your leg, you know? But if you're going to talk to somebody like that, you've got to expect it to come back to you one way or another. I mean, karma at its finest would be somebody, if you talk to somebody a bad way, you're going to get talked down to at one point or another.
Or at least something's going to come back rotten your way. At least something.
Yeah, I mean, how badly did I want to follow that old guy and be like, he just took out like 3 mailboxes and then knocked the mailboxes down and then give the license plate number of his car. I don't think he should be driving anymore. He kind
of got a little too fresh with me in the locker room as well. Maybe he should have to sign up for anywhere he potentially moves.
No, but I mean, I've never understood that. The old people that can look at you and be like, there's old people that I've known. It's like, oh, maybe you should start walking a little bit more. You're getting a little fat. And it's like, really? Well, you're getting a little old.
I actually had a relative tell me a couple of weeks ago. Well, she didn't tell me, but she was speaking, and I heard her. You know, she was really speaking to my wife, but she was like, look, Josh is pregnant. I guess the way I was standing, you know, I just let my belly pooch out and just not caring or whatever. But I just kind of look and I'm like, eh.
Well, I mean, that's kind of innocent, but what I'm talking about is like stuff like, why in the world would you want to do that? Or like that statement in itself, why would you want to do something like that? Well, I had to have a haircut, and this is how they cut it. Or you decide you're going to lose weight. You try to get into shape, and you've lost weight. It's like, you're looking awful skinny. I don't like it. You're like,
I weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah. No.
You look like a crackhead to me.
Yeah. I guess we're going to have to talk to somebody about you being on drugs. I don't know. But I mean,
you know, my biggest thing with older people back when I was a teenager, it was how they handled if they knew that you liked a girl or something. Right. It's kind of like, he likes that old girl. Ain't no telling what's gonna happen now. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get HIV and get hooked on freaking crystal meth in a month. Yep. That's what's gonna happen.
That's the start of.
I'm talking to a girl. Oh my God.
And then flip it though. If you were like I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying like if you were to say, I don't think I'm into girls. Oh Lord. You know, like it was very like you didn't know what move to make. It would be like playing chess with Bobby Fischer. It's like verbal chess with Bobby Fischer would be the equivalent of talking to an old person about what you wanted to do with your life. Oh, you gonna mess that up. Your third kid's gonna die with the rickets. It's like, how you gonna, where you gonna put your horses? Where are you gonna put, this isn't a concern anymore. We don't even have our horses.
I have no need for a barn.
No,
are you serious?
Right. Hey, you gonna have 3 kids? Well, who's gonna plow the fields and pick the cotton?
Well, that's your mistake.
Yeah.
You're stupid for doing that. Wow, why you gotta be that way?
Right. There's a nice way to put things. It's like, and not all old people act that way. But listen, old people, if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, congratulations, on
that means we've reached new lows for our target audience. And
I just typed in.
We're sorry we've offended you.
I just typed in Del Monte green beans on YouTube. If this came up, now I'm highly offended. And I'm just going to say that second one in the picture's bald and fat. I don't like him. But no, old people, if you're listening to this, thanks, congratulations on conquering the internet and figuring that whole thing out. But B, tell the old people that are mean to cut it out because they're ruining it for everyone. They're ruining it for everyone, Josh. They're ruining it. They're ruining it for everyone.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I still got my respectable side, but I think they just the ones like that. They eat away at my tolerance level.
Yes.
For that kind of crap.
So basically, they're ruining it for everyone.
Well, they make it a lot less chances for me, not to explode.
So ruining it for everyone.
We just have a few less more chances. That's all it is. Instead of having 3 chances, you got one now.
You got one time to tell me about how your son is not
screwed up, and you don't want me to do the same.
Right. I don't know what he's thinking of that old girl. I guess he just don't love me no more. We had this thing with my grandmother. We always joked around because she was the queen of the silent treatment. She had 7 kids, and if she was unhappy with one, she would tuck her hand under her chin like this. People at home can't see. But she would tuck her hand under her chin and act like she was asleep. But she would do it obviously, like when you were at the front door. You'd open the door, and she would quickly tuck her head, and she'd still be tucking as you walked in. And she'd be like, And you'd be like, hey, we're here. And she'd turn her head like it woke her up enough to turn her head. But I mean, it's stuff like that. Like,
let me ask you this while we're on this topic.
Go ahead.
Is it true that you put a talk boy up on the mantle at one point to record conversations as you were going to the skating ring? So
like, I feel like this. We've talked about this before. Like, this is therapy, and like it opens up things that we have blocked out and forgot about and put in our happy place. Like, you said that, and it was like it would be like a, and then all of a sudden it just pops back into my memory. Like when you said that, it was like, huh. No, it wasn't when I would put up talk boys to record when I would go to the skating rink. It was like when I would go outside to play or something like that, just to hear what was being said. Because she would talk smack about everyone. But I remember doing that now that you said it. And like, I remember, because this got around, I think, that whole story got around, and it might be the basis of when my family talks about it. Don't get me wrong. My grandmother was flawed like everybody else, but I love her to death and I miss her, and she wanted to have drama. That was her thing. She was like, "Oh, I got to see drama. I got to have that conflict." But I remember I recorded one time where she was actually talking to the dog. And she was like, "Well, Bandit, I guess it's just me and you tonight. Everybody just leave me. I don't have anybody that loves me. Whatever. Everybody's gone." It's almost like she knew that I was recording. But she said that so many times around people. I guess she just started saying it. But no, man. Like, I just wanted to know what was being said. Now, later on, I wished I would have recorded things, because when me and my wife, who is now I'm married to, but when we were dating, we were dating when I was in high school, and my grandmother, I lived with my grandmother, and one night she woke me up and she said, Richard, and I said, yeah, like, woke me up, like, I said, yeah. She's like, "I wonder what Julie's mom would think if she knew she was in there with you right now." I'm like, "Well, she's not. You can come in here and look." Well, by the time I get up, she's going to be gone. She's going to go out that back door through that window right there by your room. And I'm like, "Nobody's in here, Mama. I'm going to go back to sleep because I got school in the morning." So, did you ever hear about this, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. This goes on for like quite a while. So, like, and this was towards the end of her life. I didn't know if, like, it was her thinking that she heard things, because there were times that, like, the doctors were screwing up her medicine. And there was one night she woke up and she yelled my name. And I got up and I looked and I saw her shadow in the bathroom, and she was stumbling. And I was running up there and I saw her fall at the last minute. Broke my heart.
Yeah.
And I ran over there, and like I was a big guy. She was a big woman, and I was a pretty strong kid. And I just grabbed her and picked her up, set her back in her bed, and I'm like, "Mama, are you okay?" And she was like, she looked at me, and her eyes were just wide open, and her pupils were dilated. I'm like, "Mama, are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm fine. I'll be okay." I'm like, "This isn't right. Something's up." So I called my mom and my aunt, and she's like, "You better not call anybody." I said, no, everything's okay. And then all of a sudden they came over. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, something's wrong. So they get over there, and she gives me down the road, like cursing at me, yelling at me. She wasn't in her right mind, but yelling at me, cursing at me, whatever. Well, they had prescribed her the wrong medication for her blood pressure, and it had messed her up so bad that she didn't know basically anything that was going on. She was just half in, like a dream world.
Oh, God.
And they said that if she wouldn't have been looked at within the next day or so, she probably would have passed away, because the medicine was so bad it was keeping her blood pressure too low or too high or something like that. It was counteracting with some other medicine.
Yeah.
It was just stuff like that. Well, one night she told me that, and I'm like, "No, Mama, nobody's in here." "Yeah, well, you can say what you want to. I know she's in there." "No, I promise you." So, and I told my mom about it. I'm like, "Hey, she said I had somebody over here. I didn't. If she tells you that, I promise you nothing happened. There was nobody here. My wife, my wife,
My wife's not
my
here.
wife wasn't here. my girlfriend wasn't here. I promise you." Fast forward, I'm out of school. I mean, this is towards the end of her life. I was already graduated. I started dating my wife my senior year, and whatever. So we had made it through senior year. We were still, and that was the other thing. Was she trying to not be alone? So she thought, if I sabotage things between him and her, he won't leave and move out, and I won't be alone. You gotta wonder.
You never know.
You never know, and I'll never know. But that's what I assume. So this went on like 2 or 3 nights. Hey, I wonder what Julie's mom would think if she was here. Well, one night I just called my mom. I was like, "Look, she's doing it again. I'm not getting out of bed. She's in the living room. I'm not getting out of bed. You look outside right now, you won't see anybody over here. You won't see a truck or anything." I was like, "She is claiming that someone is here right now." And my mom comes over, and my mom goes, "I just want this to end. I don't want this to be a thing." And she goes, "She was here, and she climbed out that window." Well, fast forward to 2012. This would be like maybe 10 years later, 9 years later. We tried to put another window unit in the window that she said that we climbed out of. We had to take 3 crowbars to that window because it was so painted shut. It was an old window that we could not get open. So tolerance of guilt trips and the "I will say whatever I want to you" has really just not been my thing.
And we could segue in from
I feel uncomfortable.
that windowsill story into dangerous kid toys, because there was
How many times have you played with your windowsill?
Well, no, there's actually something that your grandmother could have used to figure out if Julie really was there or not. And it could have potentially been dangerous.
What was that?
A CSI fingerprinting kit from the mid-2000s. Now, that would have been about in that time period, because these said CSI fingerprinting kits for kids wasn't recalled until the beginning, I think it was January of 2007. And the trippy part about it was, now that's one of the first things I found whenever you said start researching dangerous kid games or dangerous kid toys. That's one of the first things that popped up, because it was one of the only toys that's ever been recalled that, well, it was most of it was 7% asbestos, and that's part of one of the dusts. You had 3 different kinds of fingerprinting dusts that came with the kit, and it was CBS that released the kits. You know, it was their show, whatever, and these people, it's a certain kind of group that watches over kind of the asbestos research or whatever. It's a big organization online, and kind of like a watchdog type thing. And they did $250,000 worth of independent research on several different kinds of kid toys, you know. And they said they found that as much as 7% of a certain kind of powder in pretty much every kit that CBS released was asbestos, and there's, I think it's a couple different kinds of asbestos, maybe more, but they said this was the most lethal one. So I'd have to assume that several kids that used it, you know, got lung cancer or something, and I really hate that. But at the same time,
very genuine. I really hate that people got lung cancer.
No, I do. But at the same time, it's just like it's your job or anybody's job. The bottom line is this: no matter what kind of product it is or whatever, there's that guy. There's somebody at the end of the line that okays it. And, you know, if you were that guy and you're in charge of the materials for the CSI fingerprinting kit, and you know that there's asbestos in a toy that's marketed for kids, how do you sleep? You know, it's like the guy that made lawn darts. How do you sleep? Because you know, at some point, you know, at least a few kids are going to get killed. Right. You know, for you.
Well, it's kind of like the Fight Club analogy where they were talking about how recalls are done. Wasn't that in Fight Club? Where he was like, well, I do insurance adjustments where we look at a product and see how much potentially settling lawsuits would be if every one of the people that we sold this product to would be. How much would a settlement be? Now, how much would it cost to recall that product? So we weigh that against how much all the settlements would be, and if recalling is less than the settlements, then we'll recall it.
And it's kind of like pretty much what can you sleep with?
Right. Which is basically the whole thing. Like lawn darts, yeah, that was a big one. But one of the ones I always think of is the wood burning kit, where you could burn things into wood.
Oh yeah,
like
Jeff the design.
Jeff Foxworthy had a joke about it where, a wood burning kit. What could possibly go wrong? A 6-foot cord right next to the plug-in that's by the drapes that heated up to 1,000 degrees. But I mean, that's the thing. Like things like that. Here's something that you don't see every day, and not that it was dangerous to yourself as it is now, but it was one of those things that it was it's frowned upon now because it's looked at as propaganda, was candy cigarettes.
Kind of gets you into that mindset.
Right. Go ahead and get into the mindset of sticking something like a Penn State camp graduate.
God almighty! You talk about going from the rainbow to the darkness. Are you serious?
Like a Michael Jackson.
You
Camp
play whatever
Neverland.
kind of jingles you want. We're never going to get sponsors.
Like a Michael Jackson Neverland Ranch.
Just get used to it.
Just close your eyes, Bubbles.
Let's see how fast we can drink this Tylenol PM.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Ah, you win.
You're asleep first.
What was the word?
Let me ask you this.
Now we diddle.
Let me ask you this: did you ever have a slip and slide, like a hand-me-down slip and slide?
Like, are you talking about the toy, or are you talking about an unfortunate kid event?
No, not an incident in a store or
a slip and slide with an uncle.
Did you? I'm serious.
No, I never had a slip and slide.
So, well, either way, we had a hand-me-down slip and slide.
What's a hand-me-down slip
One
and slide?
from the 70s, brother, and I'm going to tell you, it was brutal. It had the metal hold-me-downs. I'm looking for the
metal
word.
hold-me-downs.
I'm looking for the word.
Stakes?
Stakes. They escaped me. The stakes. They did not have rubber coatings on the stakes that held the slip and slide down. And, dude, I swear to you, there's at least 2 or 3 scars on my body that were, accumulated from the hand-me-down slip and slide from when I was 3-4 years old. I wonder how many incidents or just flesh ripping opens did they have back in the day? I mean,
Joe Paterno. Oh, blind-eyed Joe. No. I think, well, see, you know as well as I do, I was raised by a very cautious mother. And
anything that resembled fun,
yeah,
over with.
You want to cross the street? You want to cross the street?
Well, wait till you get in double digits in age before you even think about going across the street.
I'd love to go to the park, but my mom's not here now to hold my hand across the 3 streets that would take.
You're like 16 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean, I guess dangerous games. If we were talking about dangerous games, I don't think there's ever been a more dangerous game that you could have played. They don't play it now. I mean, there's 2 that they don't play now that were way more dangerous than anything. And the first one is Red Rover.
That's horrible.
Red Rover?
It
Red
was so
Rover.
fun, though.
Send my friend over so I can double clothesline him.
And were you ever given any rules or any kind of tactics like that you should try to go for in Red Rover when you were a
need
kid?
to go between Chad and Brian.
Because Chad's a pussy and Brian, he ain't got no kind of grip from
Nope.
that accident. So you bust right through that.
From that accident. Honestly, like, if we're being realistic, I know Trump's president, but you need to go through Cindy and Angela. You would, and they'd collapse into each other.
They just look at you like, dick. Why'd you have to bust through here?
You know, it was a really good day when you played Red Rover and you'd hit that clothesline so hard that the people that were holding hands hit heads with each other. Red Rover.
Or they look at
Red
each
Rover.
other like, like they were so mad that they couldn't contain you.
And you knew when people were trying to do the whole, let's just hold the ball and run out the clock, when they would go, Red Rover, send Megan right over. We're going to clothesline the shit out of Megan when she gets over here. And they would. They'd decapitate her and she'd be like, ow!
What's the next game you're talking about?
Dodgeball.
They don't play that anymore?
Not really. No, if they do, they don't play it like they did when we were kids. Like, we played with the rubber red balls, and I always laugh because they would always play with the rubber red balls, and like you would have that kid that failed 6 grades that had the arm of a Cuban pitcher, but he would wind up, and you would always see that girl. She would be in the back, and she always had glasses. And she would be in the back, and she would just be talking with a friend. She didn't even want to be there. It's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do my math homework. And then all of a sudden, it'd be like, boing! The ball would hit her in the face. It always the face of the person sitting in the back. And like the glasses would fly 40 yards into the bleachers and under the bleachers. So you'd have to like try to somebody, y'all go into the bleachers and get those glasses for... Well, one of the lenses popped out, and we don't know where that lens went. Yeah, well, try to find it. that was always the case, and it was always the kid that could throw 40 miles per hour, and which was really fast for a dodgeball. Always hitting the dorky kid in the face and knocking the glasses off. That was the game, and I don't think they play it like that anymore. I think they play it with like foam balls and whatever, if they even play it.
I believe they still do.
Yeah. Like, I remember the first day that my middle school teacher told our middle school PE teacher said, "Today we're going to play prison ball." And I was like, well, guess I will tie up my drawstrings on my shorts a little tighter. But what it was when you got out, you went to the back of the line, and they have these 2 bowling pins set up on the key, like, of the basketball court. So, like, at the bottom of the key, there was this box on each side of the goal. And you set the bowling pins on those. And if you knock down both pins, you automatically won.
Yeah.
But what it was when you got somebody out, they didn't just go sit down on the side. They went to the back of the out-of-bounds line behind the basketball goals. So if the ball rolled to them, they could knock over one of the pins. They could throw the ball over back to their teammates to do whatever. So that was prison ball, was what they called it. There was so many times where people would grab the ball and throw it back down the court and knock over their own pins, or throw the ball and hit somebody. So, like, there was so many times where people got hit in the head from behind. Because there was no respect there. It was just like, oh, they're not looking. Clunk! Or they throw the ball and hit one of the pins, and the ball's rolling towards the other pin, and the kid dives at the ball and knocks over the second pin. It's like, oh, well, thanks for ending the game for both of us. Wonderful, we won.
I got 2 months to lose all this weight for my high school reunion.
2 months? What are you going to do?
I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you what you should do. You should go down to 51 South Creek Drive and see Matt Hoover and all the guys at Maximum Health and Fitness. They're going to whip you into shape and help you reach your maximum potential.
But I don't have time to work out. I mean, I don't want to get signed up in something and it not be for me.
Don't worry about that. You mentioned this podcast, P3 Radio, and they're going to throw you a free trial membership.
51 South Creek Drive?
51 South Creek Drive off the South Highland right next to Los Portales. I'm telling you, they're going to help you reach your maximum fitness goals and get you into shape for your high school reunion.
Well, thanks. I'm going to go see Matt and the guys at Maximum Health and Fitness.
Maximum Health and Fitness, 51 South Creek Drive, Jackson, Tennessee.
I was looking around at our email earlier, and I seen this one file. It was a file. It was a audio file, and it said goodbye. I thought maybe you had committed suicide or something, and
you thought or hoped.
We're not going to go there right now. I thought maybe it was
maybe I'll get his Xbox.
You know, well, the first thought was he didn't show me how to hook up all this shit before he left, so there was the end of the show. But ironically, that was mentioned. Yeah. So if you want to, go to our email there and hit your goodbye song.
So I just want you to know that I know that this is bad. And I think that I prefaced that a few times, that I know this is bad. So this would be the thing that plays at every end of our show, right?
It would be.
Would be or is?
Could be.
Could be?
I like it.
All right. We'll see.
I guess this is the test of time.
All right.
We'll see.
Here we go. What happened?
I think the song itself committed suicide.
All right, here we go.
Well, the sound of that song means it's time for so long with the end of our show. Well, don't you cry, well, it's only goodbye. goodbye for about a week or so. It's the end of the show. P3 Radio. I don't know. We only wrote this song for about a minute or
Hit it hard.
I have to ask you, what the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking?
I was going with that 90s alternative, like Jeremy spoke. P3 Radio. Shamalama ding dong yo. Oh, that was where I was going. I was actually just trying to find some music to play in the background.
That works.
Yeah, I mean, are we safe to say that that is our new exit song?
I love it.
All right. You want to do an exit with it real quick?
Sure.
All right. So, all right, here we go. You ready? Yep, that's the way it goes.
It always kills itself.
Here we go. Well, the sound of that music means that it's, once again, the end of our show, Josh.
The very, very end of another blockbuster.
You're
But
right.
if you want to reach us on Twitter, you can do that at P3 Radio 1. That's our Twitter.
P3 Radio 1 on Twitter. Pop
Rewind
Poncho on
that.
Facebook.
I think we were the one.
Oh, well, you can't talk over the intro.
Yeah.
Ready? Well, the sound of that music means that we've reached the end of our show. All right, here we go.
P3 Radio.
Hold on, let me do it. Let me do it clean. Well, the sound of that music means, as it will say, that we have reached the end of our show. No.
We ain't ready to go.
Of our show. And don't be sad, 'cause it's only goodbye for about a week or so. It's the end of the show. And no. P3 Radio. No. So, here we go. I don't know where we wrote this song for about a minute or so. Whoa, I don't know.
I don't think you wrote down the lyrics.
Be ready. Sounds like you're getting electrocuted, right? Unplug it! There's a short! Your dog is awesome, by the way. She come running to my aid when she thought I was getting electrocuted there. Alright, let's try this.
Knock me off of this pole.
Don't use metal. Alright, let's do this right. Alright, well, the sound of that music means it's the end of our show. We'd like to thank you for joining us for P3 Radio. Josh, where can they find us on Twitter?
At P3 Radio 1.
What about Facebook?
At Pop Poncho.
Alright, what about YouTube?
They can go and look for P3 Radio on YouTube, and we should pop up there.
You didn't sound so certain on that one, did you?
I couldn't remember if there was a 1 after it or not.
Let's start over!
Is there a 1?
Nope. Your dog, I think your dog wants to fillet me.
She wants something. I don't know what the fuck it is.
She wants this D.
I'm serious. With her, it's like, goddamn. You remember that show where they used to do the fucking charades and shit, and then have to draw it out or whatever on the big ass piece of paper? They're all sitting on couches.
Win, lose, or draw?
Maybe.
Your dog draws?
Well, maybe she needs to, because I don't know what the fuck she wants. Here, go ahead.
Can we just get this ending out of the way?
You know, I've been wanting to do that.
Alright, here we go. Ready? Well, Josh, the sound of that music means we've reached the end of our show. If they'd like to follow us on Twitter, what's our Twitter address?
That would be P3 Radio 1.
And what's our Facebook?
You can search Pop Poncho.
Will the sound of that song mean the time for so long?
I'll try it again. We're never going to get through this, right? What the sound of that music means? Ladies and gentlemen, we got to beat the lyrics here. Alright, here we go. What the sound of that music means that we've reached the end of another show. We'd like to, I don't know. Alright.
Get me off of this pole.
Alright, well, you do it. You do the intro. Here we go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the sound of the end of our show.
I don't know. Well, I thank you for joining us here. Pop Poncho.
I feel like it's a sort of like a possession
Yeah.
that takes over. Well, Richard, you know what that sound means. It's the end
I
of another.
don't know.
I don't even know.
It's at the end of our show. Alright, here we go. I'll do it right.
I didn't know if that meant you were going to do it right, as in you were going to do it.
No, you'll do it, and I'll join in. Here we go. Ready?
Well, Richard, you know what the sound means. That's the end of another show this week.
We'd like to thank everybody for joining us this week for P3 Radio. We'd like to thank you and invite you to join us on Twitter at
P3 Radio 1
and at Facebook at
Pop Puncher.
And if you want to look us up on YouTube, what's the username?
All you got to do is put in P3 Radio and you will find us.
We would like to thank everyone for joining us this evening on P3 Radio. Please come back next week. For Josh Brawley, I am Richard Mulligan saying thanks and
good night.
Wrote a song for about a minute or so. Alright, good enough, right? Should have something in there. Put the radio. Come on, Josh. That's it. Sounds like Scooby-Doo. It was old man Jenkins, and the abandoned coal mine, yo. But is there another show? Jenkins, yo. Be the radio. I'm slowly turning into Astro there. It works.
Who?
Astro from the Jetsons.
Oh, I love that show.
What did Astro sound like?
Mr. Spacely.
Yeah. Spacely Sprockets. Remember when they did the crossover with the Flintstones with Mr. Slate? Yeah.
It was good shit.
It was.
I like the Flintstone Kids. Do you know that?
We are Flintstone kids.
No.
And we're not getting diddled.
The actual cartoon from the late 80s.
Yeah.
Loved it. Flintstone Kids.
So did Jerry Sandusky. We are Flintstone kids. You remember that with the vitamins?
10 million strong and growing.
Alright.
Be radio.
You mean sing it in the background while you do the exit? Here we go. Ready?
Well, you know what that song means. Richard's been nipping in the liquor cabinet again.
Is Richard been huffing gas from the natural gas stove? Here we go. Ready?
Well, you know what that song means. It's the end of another show. If you want to reach us on Twitter, you can do that at P3 Radio 1 or on Facebook at Pop Poncho, or go to YouTube and search P3 Radio you'll find us on there. For Richard Mulligan, I'm Josh Briley saying good night. P3 Radio.
You want to hear it back?
Sure.